Thank God it's Friday. Welcome to the show. I am Mariah Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Nima.
Good morning, Mariah.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. I have a few shout-outs. So I met the Deputy Commissioner of Police for the first CID, Agbor. The Mrs. What they call them in their ranks. I need to use her rank, but I can't remember. Her name is Ronke Nurat Okwade, I think.
Okay.
Yes, and I got a lovely video today from one of our fans abroad. Her name is Omiola Shoeton, but her son did a video. His name is Adelani Shoeton in the US. He did a video mimicking the ladies.
Are you for real?
He's a Your View diehard fan.
That's so
He did a video mimicking the ladies and, you know, waving and doing all of that. Nice. Very nice. Thank you so much. It's a better feeling to the regular shout-out demands. Right. He's not asking for just because he did that. But to the officers in that unit, they want to see you. They want to see you. They particularly, because I was masked up. I usually, when I go out, my marks, because of my past experience, is Kankan. And I don't know, they picked me from my eyes. The man said, even your eyes.
I need this mask thing. Let me tell you, you put me in trouble. I got arrested by the police a couple of days ago. And I had on my mask in the car. So I was on my phone. My driver passed one way. You know that Kudrat Abiola? Instead of going to go and make a U-turn, Billings way. Anyway, they stopped him. And I still had on my mask. The police entered the car. He didn't want to open the door. I said, I'd let them inside. The woman stayed in, and that one sat next to me. You broke the law. I said, no problem. I didn't say anything. I didn't remove my mask. They said, Madam, I'm going to the station. No problem. I follow you to the station. My mask was on. I left it on throughout. We got to the station. They came down. Come on, stand over here. Stand over here. I sat there. I didn't remove my mask. Somebody now came from Malausa who knows me. I said, Mariah, what are you doing here? He said, to go arrest my driver. Is going to take one way. I said, remove your mask. I didn't want to remove. So the boss now came in. Now I should meet the boss. And now remove my mask. As I removed the mask, it's you. I said, Emma Bino. I now begged them, apologize. They were so sorry. So they let us go. You know, but that mask did not let them. It had have gone since. But I
felt very honored by the officer, the deputy commissioner, because she regarded us as women. Because I was representing an indigent as we're both women, and she just said, okay, because they're women. And then in the job, come and sit in my office. And it's the highest rank. Who are you? She didn't know who I was until some of the officers later went to tell her.
That's nice. Mariam, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Today I need to give a shout out to my small brother.
Okay.
He's one of us. He's a TVC correspondent.
Yes.
He's just a wonderful person, Jesse Tafida. So sometimes I call him, I'm like, how do you pronounce the name of this town? Oh, it's birthday, you know. Because I'm always worried about how I pronounce words, you know, here. And you tell me, and sometimes he's giving me stories of how the situation is in the IDP camp. It's really sad. But thank you, and well done, Jesse, for the good work you're doing there.
I don't even know him. Okay.
Yeah, but he's always sending us.
Very
nice young man.
How are you doing, BC?
Doing amazing. You look amazing, by the way.
Hey, I am wearing BC, House of BC. You have to say myself market.
Yes, I'm wearing House of BC.
I actually love what I'm wearing. I love this Ankara. It's very out. I need more of this. Very easy to wear.
We got you covered.
How you doing?
I'm doing amazing. Getting ready for the children to resume school, and they will be leaving the house soon. So I'm going to be back to myself and Oga and the little baby in the house will survive. But I have a few shout outs here. Okay. So this shout out is from Chika. She says to give her daughter, tell her daughter happy birthday. Hemzi Chimdi Michelle Ayogu. She'll be 4 years old tomorrow. Happy birthday. And I have another one.
It says like she's the light of her life.
Oh,
that was really sweet.
Yeah. So Hafsa Abisola Alimutu is a fan of the show from Illinois. Today is her birthday as well as a 10-year wedding anniversary. Tomorrow. Happy birthday. Happy wedding anniversary. And the final one, this person says I should help her celebrate her husband, Mr. Isaac Gotus, for everything that he is. And today is also his birthday. Happy birthday, Mr. Isaac.
Happy birthday, everyone.
Fantastic. And I'm off for the week next week, the whole week. I have to be, it's called an intensive week in school. So all of us stay home.
You set us up.
Unfortunately, they're not opening the campus for us, so we have to find places. So we have gone, by the time my husband went to inspect somewhere, make sure it's COVID compliant, and we got a very good hotel. We got there, so just trying to ensure that safety protocols are in place.
Read well. Be away from the kids as well.
This one that we are part of this school, they are going. We are the ones that are working. Better just make us proud.
To be away from the children.
So you know that kind of when you're graduating, the kind of vote of thanks. I want to recognize all the support. You have to my children, that's one for being amazing. I have to call our name one by one. If you don't call by name, trouble.
Let's go on a break. And when we come back, we'll go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
We're going to start with a punch. Kidnappers, gunmen hold sway, abduct 75 people, kill 18. Panic as COVID-19 breaks out in Lagos lab. Workers infected. Wi-Fi Oshe shunned Wike's peace meeting with Makinde, says aide. Nigeria drops in ranking, now second most corrupt in West Africa. Lagos closure of Third Mainland Bridge begins Saturday. I escaped being retired by Obasanjo as major, says Buratai. My family now lives in Ilorin, says Igongon Seriki Fulani. And tolls may return Owerri Onitsha 11 road set for concession. President National Assembly on collision course over service chief's confirmation. Okay, which story? Go ahead, please.
So Punch just did a report on kidnapping and banditry that's happening across Nigeria. And just shows that we need, especially for these newly appointed service chiefs, to hit the ground running. So the report shows that about 75 persons have been kidnapped across the nation. 18 have been killed. In Niger State, no fewer than 50 persons were abducted early Thursday. In Katsina State, 9 people were killed. In Taraba State, at least 25 youths who were on their way from a wedding party, a wedding, were abducted along Wukari Takum Road. 3 local government areas in Kaduna where 4 people were killed. Usually they just go into these communities on bikes, shooting sporadically. And I guess this report is just to help us understand the emergency situation that we find ourselves right now.
So they have a human interest story.
Yes. So there's this WellMed healthcare laboratory in Aja, where I think it's one of the Lagos State facilities for testing COVID-19, and they've had about 5 of the staff members tested for COVID-19. So there's this rumor from witnesses saying that they are still allowing the staff members to come to work even after they've tested for COVID-19. They are not, they've not fumigated the building. A lot of the staff who suspected they are feeling a certain way decided to go for the test, and they're asking them to pay 50%, so they don't even have the money to do their own personal test. But the management of that laboratory has said that they actually sterilize the place every day, and it's fine that some people have tested for COVID-19, they have been isolated, but they've not given us any information if they are going to be closed down for a bit so that they can fumigate.
And the Seriki Fulani, as Gongon was saying, that he's safe in the north, his family is in Loring, and they are amongst those who had to flee at the time of the ultimatum, but he's safe in the north, and his family are doing well in Loring. Moving on now to the nation. Ohaneze, North's elders, 4th service chief's choice. Picture here of Nima's people, monarch injured in host community free for all at the PIB.
It's me and Obiaduru.
Oh, and this, your
both of us in the Niger Delta.
Ondo workers, okay, 50% pay cut. Government kicks PDP gloats as TI ranks Nigeria 149 in corruption index. Okay, the major headline, please.
Ohaneze Ndigbo, yeah. So Ohaneze Ndigbo congratulated the president for the appointment of the service chiefs, but they are saying that the appointment was not very fair to them. The first term that the presidency had, there was no Igbo, a man of Igbo extraction among the appointments. This same time again, the same thing, and they are asking that in order for the president to allow the federal character principle to make sure that everybody is included, they have to appoint an Igbo. Now, the Northern Elders, coalition of Northern Elders for Peace and Development, in support of Ohaneze, saying that they should be calm, that they are going to speak to the president, and with the remaining appointment, they are going to ensure that an Igbo person is appointed. They have Igbo people in the Navy, in the Army, in the police who are working very hard, who are due for promotion, and they will look into it.
So that was the coordinator, Zanagoni, was saying that they'll throw their weight behind Ohaneze to ensure that
so there's a small strip story of a motorist, a last official killed by a motorist in 12. So this official, Samson Olawale Akimade, was knocked down by a bus at Mile 12 and left with body and head injuries. And he died in the hospital. He was rushed to the hospital, but he died. And, you know, it's painful when these officers are killed in the course of duty. Remember last 2 years when one was shot at gunpoint at Yanopaja, close range, while carrying out his duties. We need these officers, kind of issues that we face. We need them to, you know, to help us bring sanity on the roads. And we can't allow every single, you know, killing of them or murder of them happening to go like that. I expect that, you know, the proper things are done. Even if it was an accident, let there be a proper trial, you know, for that kind of
COVID-19.
Yeah, so COVID-19, the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs met with the president and was led by the President General and the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Muhammadu Sa'ad Abubakar, and they had gone there to, you know, talk about many things, insecurity, marginalization, and so forth. The president also used that as an opportunity to ask that the Muslims and other Nigerians should not be afraid of the COVID-19 vaccines that are being brought into the country, that he's ensuring that whatever is, the vaccines that will be brought into the country would not endanger Nigerians in any way, and also asking that Nigerians be encouraged to follow the protocol.
And also, the president said a lot of things at that meeting. Interestingly, it was almost as if they were just giving him the mic to be talking. Because in addition, he was saying that he would never use his ethnicity and religion to lead Nigeria. That he believes in religious freedom, and he definitely doesn't believe that the killings that are happening by certain regions in the society, and that he's for all Nigerians. I mean, it's interesting. He reiterated quite a bit of things at that meeting.
Well done.
Move on now to Vanguard. Southwest Governors Afenifere blast Sharia Council over ranching. PIB, free for all at National Assembly over who speaks for Niger Delta. COVID-19, NSIA hands over 126 monitors, 53 oxygen concentrators to 21 health institutions. And Nigeria drops on Transparency International Corruption Index. Finally, Cross River Assembly finally confirms Ikpeme as Chief Judge. Remember we talked about this sometime last year.
300 and something days.
We've been talking about it. Okay, which story are we taking?
So PIB, the Petroleum Industry Bill, they've been doing the public hearing at the House of Reps, and yesterday was the second day of the hearing. And the representatives from the communities, the host communities, they were supposed to, the way it was arranged, that they should get one representative to speak for them. And all of a sudden, the fight broke out. Even the rep members all ran for safety. I mean, we saw the videos of someone punching someone. So the conversation is that, first of all, of course, there are different communities, and they do not agree on who should represent them. But in the bill, there's a 2.5% what do we call it? Yeah, no,
local content.
Something you give to the host community that they get to the host community, and what they were trying to pass across, that 2.5 for all the host communities would not be enough, and they're asking for 10%. But to have one person say it for all of them, even though that was what they all wanted to say, was the problem.
No, so it wasn't about that. It was when the chairman, Mohammed Tahir, had said, you know, each community will have the opportunity to speak individually. And, you know, they thought, you know, they didn't understand what he meant, and they shouted. Then when he later called on one community to start, they felt he was appointing that person to speak on their behalf. So there was a chorus to stop, and then one of them got physical and started beating up the old man. But the cocoa of the matter, because it's our matter in the Niger Delta, is very important, is that we need to focus on, let me quote one of the persons speaking, OVA, Monday whiskey of one of the, of Ideje Kingdom in Delta State, found on recent call of scrapping the NCDC, which those are one of their issues, and, you know, neglecting thousands of indigent people that have been unemployed or disengaged from their basic means of livelihood because of the activities of the the oil companies in that region. And he says that there's also an that being impoverished by the activities of oil workers in that region, and also the local content, 70% local content, to employ indigents, you know, to compensate for their disengagement from their livelihoods, their fishing, their lifestyle. Employing them in the companies that their communities are hosting from that, so at least you will compensate for something. So those are some of the serious issues there. I don't want this video going the rounds to push aside the most important issues.
That's why we are all talking about civility. We have in every single thing, we have to be organized. Everything has to be conversations about fighting. So if you want to convey your message, do it in the way so that everybody understands your point of view. But once a video comes like this, suddenly the real issue becomes
yes. So local
Let me just add that
content
it's the royalty they were talking about, the percentage we were talking
that will
about,
be paid
the
to them.
royalty that will be paid to the host family.
Yeah, so I wanted to quickly, the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, NSIA, in a bid to assist the federal government on the COVID-19 response, has donated 126 units of patient monitors and 63 units of oxygen concentrators to 21 healthcare institutions across the 6 political zones. This is just more like a relief package to help the federal government fight cases of COVID-19.
Final paper, Daily Sun, Nigeria gets worst global corruption ranking since 2015. Finance, others, youth groups threaten to ground Nigeria over state of health facilities. Service chiefs Ohaneze gets Northern elders backing on review, demand, and COVID-19. Northern governors offered themselves for vaccine experiments. Which side are we taking?
Major headline, painfully. Go ahead. So according to the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, Nigeria's chapter in the Transparency International this year scores 25 out of 100 points, which pushes us to 149 from our 144 in 2018. Did we score up or we passed? We are now 149 out of 183 countries on the TI scale in global index for corruption. And the issues are not...
Did you become worse or did you become
worse?
better?
Worse. It became worse. So some of the issues include nepotism, of course, corruption in our civil service, largely, extortion, in the Nigerian police, corruption in the security sector, lack of adequate anti-corruption legal framework, prevalence of bribery and extortion, of course, I took earlier, and absence of transparency in our activities.
Exactly.
It's painful. We'll not go hungry, but we should check. we should look in the mirror and see how correct this is. I don't want to play the party politics between the PDP and the APC because this thing started even under their watch. But it's prevalent. Certain things that are procedural and monetized in every civil service.
One of the things that I think we learned from Lee Kuan Yew was the fact that merit must always be that which decides who we appoint. And this issue of the partisan is all about my people, we are people versus their people. Those are the kind of things that actually bruise corruption.
And then we as Nigerians should stop monetizing our jobs.
Yeah.
So you're at an office and you're expecting, we call it mobilization. We give it names.
Colorful names.
Very nice names.
You need to oil the engine.
As long as people have to pay, Esther code. We give it.
It sounds like an interesting topic to talk about. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So joining us on the show for the first segment is the Commissioner for Information in Delta State, Mr. Charles Aniagwu, to help clear the air on the explosion that happened in Agbor. I'm probably touch on what happened yesterday, but we'll start with the Agbor explosion. Honorable Commissioner, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, loud and clear. Good morning.
Good to have you on the show. So we needed some clarity on the explosion, the gas explosion, especially because it was situated in a residential area. And many Nigerians were really worried how DPR was able to get permission first and why there weren't enough safety measures like fire stations or relief help for the community in that area. So could you just clarify exactly what happened and how we can ensure this doesn't happen again?
Well, thank you very much. But before we start, let me also start by clarifying that it wasn't situated in a residential area. If you happen to know the site of that particular gas station, you will discover that first of all, it's on an express route, the Benin or Nisha route. And then before it, several, at least up to about 500 meters before that gas station, no building from the left and also from the right. And also right behind the gas station, there wasn't any building. But what happened is that the fire itself did not also start from the gas station. But just as they were offloading the content of the truck that brought in the gas, there was an accident that happened that led to a leak of the gas. And then, of course, gas like vapor, it evaporates and moves with air. And as it moves, in this instance, it now, in the course of time, caught up with a house where somebody was cooking. And now he drew the fire from that house back to the gas station. And then the gas station caught fire. And after some couple of minutes, the gas station also went up, and there was a burst of the tank containing the liquid content. And that now caused it to explode, thereby now sending the fire back to the community through the surrounding bushes. And you know, many have said that why do they put a gas station along residential area? You live here in Lagos. Between here in Ketu, where your station is sited, and Apapa, there is no single bush. You have houses. Are we saying that there's no gas station between here and Apapa? And in any case, the nature of our country, even when you decide to go and site it in a bush, that land where you site it belongs to you. But the one that is beside you, where you have share boundary, belongs to another man. Now, will you say because you have been able to build your own gas station, and as such, the next man should not develop his own plot forever? It's a matter of time. Houses will somehow come close. Sir, what needed to be done is to ensure that gas stations, wherever you decide to site them, have a lot of safety measures. Petrol stations equally, as today, even when before now, they site it and make sure that there's no living accommodation around the petrol station, the filling station. But over time, the owners of these plots, because all the plots, you know the nature of our country, doesn't belong to the government, they belong to individuals. And individuals, as a matter of time, will certainly develop their own plots. You will not say because you have started a gas station and I want to build a house and that is the only plot I have, I should not even develop it. I only just wanted to respond to the issue of whether it was a residential area, but in this instance, it wasn't the question of a residential area.
Right. So you have raised a lot of issues. You have raised a lot of issues, and I'm sure my colleagues are aware, but I want to stay on the cause of the fire. So now you explained that certain kilometers to the location of the gas station and away from it, there are no buildings. And yet,
reasonable meters, not up to
reasonable meters, and yet a fire from another building, you know, causes fire there. Are you saying this as a matter of investigation of, or you know, the result of a proper fire investigation? 1 minute, sir.
I'm sure you saw the governor visit the place.
Yes, I saw the visit. This is my question: is this the result of a post-fire investigation by competent experts? I'm the daughter of a fire expert, and I know what I'm saying. Or this is just, you know, the result of, you know, feedback or eyewitness reports on what happened around.
If I'm cooking in my house and I decide to go out to the sitting room and fire starts from the kitchen, and all of a sudden the fire now gets to the sitting room, I don't need a fire expert to come and tell me that the fire that came to my sitting room started from the kitchen where I know there was fire. That you already know, because even the man that you say want to investigate, his question is going to ask. No house was raised down in the course of this fire incident we're talking about, because it moved by air. It's like a bomb. Everything we're talking about in terms of those casualties happened in the split of minutes, because the moment it exploded, just like bomb, there was even a man who was just riding his motorcycle. It caught up with him, the motorcycle got burnt, he himself also got burnt. Because the gas, you know how gas is, it's an explosive. Once it happens, in a split second, it's not as if the people were standing and then the fire was just on them and then they begin to look at how to put out the fire on any of the...
All right, let me pause you for a second.
Mr. Commissioner, sir. Okay, we get it. Accidents happen, and you know, sometimes we can't help when these incidents happen. But we have things in government that government has put in place, and we're hoping that has been put in place in Delta State as well. Town planning regulations. I wonder what type of town planning regulations are in Delta State. The health and safety measures that are put in place just to help, you know, reduce the impact of an incident or an accident that happens, especially where there are human beings living there. What are the sort of things that government has in place to protect individuals when accidents or incidents like this happen?
Thank you. Not a few minutes after that incident happened, we were able to mobilize fire trucks to go and put out the fire. But what I'm trying to say is that, yes, I agree that certain safety measures need to be put in place irrespective of where they are sited. I started this conversation by telling you that your station is in K2, Ikusi K2. Between K2 and Apapa, you don't have any bushes. You have everywhere is built up. Are we saying that there are no gas stations between here and Apapa? Or even when you want to move from Apapa to Victoria Island, no single forest anywhere, everywhere is built up. Or you also move from Apapa, you decide to go to Tres Oshodi, everywhere is built up. In all these areas, people refill their cooking gas. What you do is not issue of this, where is it sited? Because if you talk about where it's sited, then all the ones in Lagos should be taken away, and then you take it to far away in Egbe, where you have a forest, if everybody believes that a gas station must be in the forest. Meanwhile, that gas station is to serve individuals, not to serve animals in the bush. People will even go to this gas station and purchase gas. Most important, and no matter where you decide to site it, what is important is the safety measures you are talking about to ensure that it does not lead to where there is a leak. And secondly, in the event that there is a leak, that is immediately curtailed so that it does not lead to untold consequences. We have been able, we supported what happened in Agbor, but it's not a question of where it was sited, because if you talk about where it was sited, you will not even blame DPR. Well, in case of this particular gas station we're talking about.
Let's go on a quick break, sir.
We're there with
let's go on a quick
your
break.
correspondent.
When we come back, we'll continue this conversation with you, sir. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we still have with us the Commissioner for Information, Delta State, Mr. Charles Aniagwu.
Commissioner Charles, so you keep mentioning...
Yes, my sister.
I'm actually from Delta State, Asaba to be precise, and you keep mentioning Lagos State and the fact that we have gas plants all around Lagos. Now, Lagos has learned from his mistakes, and if you follow the trend, you see that there are a lot of people who are coming up to fight, tank farms and gas plants being situated in residential areas. That's a major fight that's ongoing as we speak in Lagos State. Now, I want to ask you as a Deltan, what is the plan of the government to avoid the mistakes a state like Lagos has made so that you do not endanger the lives of your people? Your job is to protect the lives of Deltans. What plans do you have so that this does not continually repeat itself?
Okay, thank you very much. I agree with you. Safety of the people, particularly as provided for in Section 14, subsection 2, paragraph B of the Nigerian Constitution, is the main purpose of a government, the security of the people. And that we are committed to ensuring that we take to heart and ensure that our people are protected. The reason why I mentioned Lagos is that you were talking about the issue of sighting or no sighting. I said, look, taking precautionary measures, safety measures is very, very important. Because the gas that you are talking about is to be used by people. Even when you take it to a farm, the people will still go to where the gas station is to buy the gas. And even if 10 people or 15 people have come on a day, particular day, to buy the gas in that bush where you think they should sight the gas, and then those safety measures are not in place, and then there is an explosion, the death of one man is even also very important, not to talk about 15 persons who may have gathered in addition to the gas attendants. So it's not a question of whether there are other houses that are around. In this case, they are not even around because it's surrounded by a palm tree plantation. If you go to the place, you still see it. On either side, it does not share fence with anybody. I am not the owner of the gas station, so that you begin to say that I'm defending the siting of the gas station. I am saying that we agree that continuously, irrespective of where it's sited, safety measure is important to ensure that in the event of an accident, that you are able to arrest it so that it does not escalate. Vehicles have been so nice. In coming to your station this morning, I rode on a vehicle. Perhaps even as we were coming, there could have been an accident somewhere else in another vehicle. Will I say because there was an accident involving a vehicle, then nobody will board vehicles anymore? We will continue to improve on the safety of not only gas stations, but on only any other facility. You have high tension wires, electric wires, running through the cities, even when people don't build under them. Because of issues of land and non-availability, there are a number of farms that you even see under high tension electric cables, which is not advisable. But even when it falls, even when you decide not to farm under that high tension, if it falls, any of the wire gets caught on accidentally, and then there is rain, the rainwater may also make you to suffer severe damage on account of that high tension cable that may have disconnected from its source. So, that's why it's called accident. So, but
earlier,
in our own case, like we have said now on account of this, the governor has said we will come up with a legislation to further make it very, very stringent on the operations of gas stations. We're also looking at, even on that particular day, as soon as we finish our inspection, the governor has given order for quick acquisition of additional fire trucks in our state. In addition to repairing some that we're having faults in some other areas. These are measures we are taking to further ensure that the safety is enhanced. So it's not as if we are keeping quiet and then having visited the place, we now decide to step up, because it could have been any one of us. Apart from the fact that the governor took steps to ensure that the bills, the medical bills, are of course absorbed by the government, we are also taking further steps to preventing it rather than the curative measures that we are taking at the moment. So I just needed to be clear on that.
Okay, so we are clear on the location of the tank, the gas plant. You know, it's like you said, it's existing away from buildings. But you mentioned earlier that when a person buys their land, you can't control what they build on their land, which is why my colleague was asking questions on town planning. So if a person wants to locate a residential building around a gas plant that has been moved away from residential building, are we going to say that the government can't, you know, restrict or compel that person to not reside close to that gas plant to protect his life?
First, let us take cognizance of where we live in this part of the world. Communal atmosphere usually pervades our communities. Land largely belongs to these individuals, even if government has certain control by the Land Use Act. The moment, even just like, for instance, you have a gas plant, so somebody sells the land to you, and then you are starting a gas plant, no building, no structure, very close to it. That land you are buying does not belong to the government. It belongs to an individual who has decided to sell it to you. Now, anywhere you construct your fence, from your fence down to the left or to the right, belongs to another person. Will you ask that person, maybe that is the only land where he has, that he usually cultivates, will you ask him not to go and farm in that particular land because we have a gas station?
No, but town planning can compel. No, sir. Town planning can compel him not to reside close to that inflammable.
Let me tell you the issue of compelling by town plan. There are things you can compel. You can compel, you can't build this kind of structure here because of our town plan, but you cannot compel that I should not use my land.
You can resell your land and reside where it's safe.
So you say what?
You can sell your land to another person who has the same purpose of the kind of business around where your land is located, and reside where it's safe. Government can compel you to do that.
Let us assume I sell the land. I want to agree with you without conceding. Let us assume I sell the land to another person who wants to also establish another gas plant, so that you have co-location, gas plant, sharing boundary with gas plant. Now, on the left of that...
So let me put that aside. Sir, Commissioner, let me put that aside for a moment, because there are other pertinent issues, such as ensuring fire stations are certain kilometers within various communities.
Those are the things.
Now, that's the kind of plan we want to hear government tell us about.
Safety measures. That is what I'm talking about, safety measures. But to be saying that once a land is where town planning will stop the other man from using his land, I don't know which law town planning will rely on to stop a man from using his land when he's not going to pay compensation. Now, on the issue of a fire station, right there in Agbor, we have a fire station. And in building fire station, the man who have established the gas plant is also mandated, even by the approval of DPR, to have fire hydrants. So that even before the main fire trucks coming from the government, the person is able to offer certain measures to mitigate the effect. But we are not talking about fire from firewood. We are talking about fire caused by gas that is in the air. And it doesn't take 3 million years to happen. Once it is gas, gas is air. The moment it explodes, what you need to stop is to prevent that kind of a careless explosion. That is the issue, the major number one measure you need to take. Because the moment it explodes, did you know that nobody in that gas station got burnt or was injured? You know what happened? As soon as that accident happened, they knew the danger that awaits them. They all ran away because they knew that there was already a problem. At that time, the place had not caught fire, but they have been so educated to know that there's danger. It took a couple of minutes for the fire now, the gas, to locate fire somewhere within the community and then bring it back to the fire station. So if it was what people thought, that the issue of the fire starting from the gas station, all the attendants would have first of all been burnt down.
Okay. Let me go on a quick break, sir. When you come back, we'll continue this conversation with you. Let me just be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Delta State with us. BC had a question. Go ahead,
Commissioner, I wanted to know, in this case now, who will be held responsible and what compensation plans does the government have for victims of this fire?
Well, at the moment, when we visited and saw that there was nothing too wrong with the siting of that particular gas station on account of the fact that you have plantations surrounding the gas plant, we felt that the first thing to do is not to begin to look for who to hold responsible, but to attend to the victims. And that was why we visited those who lost their loved ones or whose brothers and sisters got burnt on account of that inferno. And then immediately the governor directed the Commissioner for Health to proceed to UBTH, where most of them were taken to. Of course, you know, the issue of burn, many individuals may not know. It is not every hospital that have a full-fledged burn session where you deal with issues of burn. Because every sickness, like for instance, you come, you have an eye problem. Nobody will send you to a hospital where they are treating bones. They will take you to a place where you are going to treat the eye.
Correct.
The accident on account of burns, if it gets beyond a certain level, certain degree, possibly beyond 30%, you now need a specialist hospital to be able to deal with it.
Yes.
In this case, a number of these persons got burnt up to 80%, and you know that is quite serious. You need to prevent, because you cannot wear the person clothes like you would do in other areas. You will need to prevent the possibility of contracting some other bacteria that may worsen the state of that particular person, that victim. So everything is still on. We are carrying out a further investigation to begin to look at what to do. Because if you just begin to say, okay, you started your gas station and this thing happened and it's an accident, it's like when you just see a man whose vehicle tumbled several times and then you begin to look for how to first of all hold him because his vehicle tumbled, and meanwhile the next another vehicle will tumble. If you need to look at that floor where the vehicle tumbled, is it that there is an undulating terrain along that road, or the man oversped? Okay. There are a lot of things you need to consider before you begin to talk about.
We have to wrap up with you, sir.
Let me quickly add. Earlier on, you were talking about the issue of tank farm. Tank farms are situated far away from cities. They are not retail outlets. The tanker, or what you may call trucks, goes to a tank farm like the one that brought the gas that was offloaded. Must have gone to a tank farm from where it loaded to bring it closer to the people, where it will serve the people, just like your filling stations. Every petrol that you are buying in a filling station was brought from a tank farm somewhere. Because you cannot go to tank farm to refill your vehicle, they bring it to a filling station that is where you live or where you can access. And then when you drive into the filling station, you buy your fuel. The same thing, the gas station. This gas station is a retail gas station where home gas users, domestic gas users, will come with their cans, or what you call them, the gas cylinders. They come in, refill, and then they go to their homes, the cooking gas. You are not going to go and put it in tank farm for somebody to drive for 40 kilometers because he wants to cook.
All right,
So
point
those are,
taken.
I just need to
I get
point
that.
between the
All right,
tax
so
farm and the gas station.
I have to wrap up with you, but I think the conversation Mariam was talking about earlier was government's responsibility somehow. But either way, I would like to ask for your update on COVID-19, education on COVID-19 and what you're doing, because here we hear that lots of victims are being transported to Edo State for high-level health issues. Some of even these burns had to go to Edo State for proper health care. What's your government doing in improving your healthcare facilities and educating people more on COVID-19 and prevention?
Well, on the issue of COVID-19, we are not taking any patients to Edo State anymore. That was at the beginning. Now we have a treatment centers in our state. Okay. It was only the issue of this fire that we had to refer people to UBTH, where they have a complete pump session to deal with such issues. That of COVID-19, we have a number of centers. We are also carrying out a number of tests, but we give God the glory that our case in Delta is not as it is in a number of other states. And so God is helping us in that regard because, yes, we have done a number of things, but we don't want to take the glory, given the fact that we still have a very, very low number of persons infected. But that notwithstanding, just yesterday, we took a decision as a government to further introduce some curfew to restrain movements at night between the hours of 10 and 4 p.m. Individuals may want to ask, does it mean that that is the only time COVID-19 moves? Why are you asking people not to move beyond 10 p.m.? We understand that enforcing certain rules is quite difficult in the dark. And then when you leave people to begin to also congregate so much, that is when people will want to go to club. And then, of course, when you go to club, there are certain behaviors that you cannot enforce. I can't see anybody asking anybody to maintain social distance in a club when people are supposed to be dancing together and then sitting together and drinking together and sharing glasses and all sort of, even taking their shisha and all sort of those sort of things, which may likely more like serve as a super spreader. And that we are doing. We are also carrying out continuous sensitization. But we must add that even in the midst of that sensitization, our people must learn not to ask government to do everything. We must also take responsibility. And how do I mean? A situation where somebody, for instance, gets to a traffic light. The traffic light installed by government shows red. And then the man is looking whether there is a last mile officer by the side so that he can beat the traffic. What is that person doing? It means the person is not taking responsibility. Mm-hmm. And when you beat the traffic, you may likely be involved in an accident, which may claim your life. When the person dies in that accident, it is not a government accident. It is not the government that dies. It's that individual that dies. And if you know that it's the individual that dies on account of such carelessness, why does it stop you from not taking that personal responsibility? We can ask you to put on face masks. We can ask you to maintain social distance. We can even ask you to wash your hand 1,000,000 times. But you must know that your own personal responsibility is high. Some persons were asking us during the U time, did you say that we should not go and get involved in midnight service or crusade? And I was asking, why do you need to ask me whether you should go? You have been told that when you congregate that much, you may be involved in an occasion that is a super spreader, where most people may contract the virus. And when you contract it, you are also further spreading it and endangering the life of others. Why do you need government to further tell you which crusade to go to and which crusade not to go to? Why not take personal responsibility to know that, yes, I can worship my God, but I should do that I do not endanger both my life and of others.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. I think we can wrap up with this at this time. Thank you very much for clearing up that up for us. Let's go on a break. When we come back, move on to other stories. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us so recently. I mean, we're done with the Commissioner for Delta State, but it's Friday. We're supposed to have some kind of gist. So we've been observing women objectifying themselves on social media recently. There's the hashtag Busted Challenge, Silhouette Challenge, and all these things on TikTok. And, everybody's just doing everything shy. In fact, yesterday somebody was showing me a video, I think a movie. Somebody's doing a movie. Movie about all sorts of things. I am like, what's this world turning into? I mean, I'm getting confused. I mean, it's your body. I can't really stop you from exposing what you want to expose. But can we have some restraint? I mean, is there even need for restraint anymore? I mean, people just seem to be so free. There's a free for all. Let's all show it, you know. And how do we put some brakes on this? Or is there even need to? I mean, has the world gone past that thinking? Do we still have to think that conservatively? Or do we just say, you know, this is the new world, accept it, or jump off the boat? You guys are taking
because if me I talk now, they say she's in the hijab. So this is something that's close to heart. I'm totally against this. I see it now as popular, and I always say when we drop the standards, this is how we get. We are getting to that point where no rules, so no wrong. We don't have any standards. We don't have any cause to complain. I saw a video of a lady, you know, who was supposed to be the slow mo. I don't know the kind of dance, but you know, this is, you were dancing with your chest, like, I don't want to, with your breast. Showing, and you know, you made a video.
Straighten it up.
You know, and she didn't even mind. And my daughter was coming here. I'd hate my daughter to think it was allowed. You know, I don't want to grow up. For the largest part of my life, wasn't even aware of my body parts for a long time. You know, before I started getting aware of it, I didn't even have. You know, and these days.
So how do you raise your kids in this kind of system where you can't even check Instagram?
You know, you know the contradiction.
I'm personally careful.
We're telling our children, these are your private parts, in protecting them against sexual predators, trying to prepare their minds. And then we are watching a video once, I'm making public parts, and the person is, you know, the child now wonders, even if it's my private part, I can do it's what I like without. We need to really come back. We should ask ourselves this question: are we destroying or repairing? In this free for all thinking, I can do whatever I like. We're free and all of that. The standard of decency, is decency no longer an existing value? Is it?
Or should we redefine what decency is in these times? Because what is decent to you is not relative. It's not might not be normal to somebody else. I mean, I've told you that. I mean, when I was younger. Let me not see this on TV.
It's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm one person who will not judge other people for the decisions that they take and the choices that they choose to make, because I know that even God himself gave me a choice. He presents you with the good and the evil, and he asks you to choose yourself so that you are responsible for the consequences of your actions. The only thing I do when I see certain things is to protect my space and try as much as possible to protect my children the best I can. The truth is, they will go off to school. They will go off to the university. I'm not going to be there to constantly monitor them and hound them. The job I can do is to protect them right now and teach them the difference. So I'm one who will not hide it from my children. I would let them see, but you see what this person is doing. What do you think about it? I get them to tell me based on what they have learned from me. Why would this person be doing this? Is totally wrong. And in my heart, okay, thank God they are listening. They know the difference. There was something that happened recently, and somebody used the F word where my son was, and my son came to me and I told him that word is a wrong word. You do not use the F word on people. And I'm like, the father was like, he knows the F word. I say, yes. I exposed him to it, and he knows it's wrong. So when he hears it, it's not strange to him. He's not trying to like it. He understands that this is wrong and this is right. So when I see all those challenges and all of that, what I do is, there are certain pages that I know that they are good with those things. I just quickly unfollow them for peace of mind. Because your children are always around you. We have kids. They want to see your phone and everything. So that I don't go and pop up something and they'll see a naked somebody.
Because there's always that line of freedom of expression. I have that. It's my page. They will tell you it's my page. I can do whatever it is I want.
Actually.
And you are following them because of maybe you just think they are cool people, and suddenly they just keep surprising you with all sorts of things.
Then you follow them. Simple.
So I mean, wait, how do you talk?
So for me, let's just make this conversation more like maybe not individual or based on these challenges, just where the world is headed. When it comes to women's rights, feminism, it has come through a journey, and I feel that the women of this generation are acting the way they are in response to the way they have seen women being treated. So for them is, the message I hear from these sort of challenges is that women's bodies have been regulated and have been regulated by the gender that's not female. It's regulated by the opposite gender. You are not a woman. You don't know exactly what I go through. You don't know my body. And then you determine how I use my body, how I show my body, what I do with my body. And so for them, it is, this is who I am. I am proud of who I am. I'm proud of my, I'm proud of my body. You don't determine what I do with it. So now, I believe that it gets to a point where it can be too much. That's the truth. That this journey, as you know, you pointed out, where does it end? There has to be a purpose for it. And sometimes people who started the movement, those who started the movement have been sort of lost in the bandwagon that just doing it just for the doing sake. So there used to be a time where some women, this feminism movement, would not shave their armpits, would not wear bras, because for them, as a man, don't tell me how I need to smell or how I need to package myself to look nice for you. But it has gotten to a point now where we're just showing everything. There's nothing wrong in keeping your body sacred and keeping it. You know, we've made it so uncool now. That's where I'm headed. That we're made it uncool to keep your private. I am not someone who is personally moved by nudity.
Right.
I feel nudity has different messages, depending on the situation or the context in which it is used. But also, I understand that you can also just, you know, make nonsense of it. Your body is your body, but there is a time and place for everything.
The issue of your body is your body, because yesterday I had an argument with my husband. I mean, we had a small fight because I was telling him that I'm willing to be a surrogate. I really want to be a surrogate, and I mean it. I want to be a surrogate, and he keeps saying, you cannot be a surrogate. What does that mean? You know. So we had a serious argument because he was telling me that you're my wife, and I'm like, well, it's my body. If I choose to be a surrogate, I want to be a surrogate. He said, no, auntie, it's not your body. It's our body. It's our body. And, you know, he kept trying to make me understand my responsibility to him. Because, yes, it's your body, but you still have a responsibility to me. The same way. Yes, you're an adult. Yes. It's your body. But you also have a responsibility to those who are seeing you. You have a responsibility to the society at large. There's a bigger picture. There's a greater good. There are people who are watching you. So in that should give you some kind of restraint that, okay, let me be cautious of how I front it all out. Because there are some videos I've seen, Nima, that are really, really worrisome. People empty it all.
I think we should be foresighted. You know, I worry about how I will end. Not where I am.
Yes,
where's headed? You won't get to see.
No, how you would end.
How I will end.
Okay.
I remember. Yes.
Okay.
This morning in one of my class, because my husband was even objecting to it, because I'm always listening to how I'm dealing with my grief. I'm still dealing with it, but I'm, on course trying to grasp it. And I remember my father would tell me, if I die, I don't want parties, I don't want the noise, I don't want this is not better. I want the Islamic things to be done. And post his death, my relatives said I was stingy. Work on a TV station, you go on to throw party for your father. You don't know he said the family, and I've had a lot of people come and, he died in town, you have to come home and come and do some ritual. Oh, I say, I'm not doing it. It's not Islamic, I'm not doing it. So we're under that pressure, and I'm constantly trying to see whether I'm on the right path. And this morning when I was listening to how to deal with condolences in Islam, I did everything right. And I was just thanking my God this morning as I was driving to work that I'm grateful for who raised me, because he was constantly worried about how will my children, will they do the right thing? Will they be more convinced about what people say? I'm just grateful for the kind of, and that's what worries me. You do a video today, you claim your body is your own, you do it all. And maybe in a few years' time when you're more saner, calmer, and more mature, you see that you actually created a problem. Are you thinking that way at all? The way we thinking ahead, how these rules that I'm creating today, will they apply for a lifetime? Are they classic? Are they something that I would love to be remembered by?
I also am worried about the fact that the world is becoming very selfish. Now we hear a lot about self-love. Love yourself, put yourself first, and it's good to a level. But the fear now is that we're now taking it to the extreme, whereby you're so focused on yourself, that you're not even caring about how it affects the other person, the implications of your actions, how will it affect the other person today, tomorrow, or next tomorrow. So a lot of people are living that, you know, foresight of how,
my world.
Yeah, how would I live in such a way that I don't harm other people? I don't harm. Will my children look back in how many years' time and see me and be proud of what I did today? We're not thinking in that direction. We're not focused on the happiness of what we can give ourselves today. Yeah. Be yourself, love yourself, and all will be well. I just think that we need to start being careful, especially if you're someone who, you know that somewhere along the line, a time will come for seriousness. A time will come for leadership positions. A time will come where you become the human being that you were meant to be. Now, when they bring out your case, you know, they tell us stories that when you die, and then they play your video in heaven or hell, you will now see all the sins you've committed. When they play that video, will you be proud to stand that you tried?
Okay, for me, I'm always an advocate for allowing people to make their mistakes, and that we're all finally embodiment of the good decisions we made and the bad decisions we made. And where you find yourself 10 years from now, 20 years from now, it's just a combination of everything. And that you're willing to bear the consequences of what happens and enjoy the benefits of learning from your mistakes. And that when one generation makes a mistake, there's the next generation that is watching to make worse mistakes or do better. So I am not the one that would say, you know,
be judged based on your past.
Yes, be judged based on your past, because I know that lessons can be learned from mistakes as well. And in saying that, you know, it's just do better in everything that you do better. Be kind.
Be your own good standard of judgment.
Yes.
So if I would judge you for having a dreadlock, I would know better than to have it. If I would judge you for wearing your earrings dropping, I would know, you know, it's always a different skill.
Yeah. So I was trying to teach my children about learning from mistakes. I have one child that watches and listens and makes tries not to make the mistake that someone else. I have another child that wants to make their mistake. So I used an example recently. I said, imagine I bring a crossword puzzle and it's all in pieces and I put it down. The one that likes to make the mistake, you go in there, you try. It will take you so long before you get it sorted out. But the other child that likes to wait will watch you do it. And when you're done and it's scattered again, that child will do it faster and even better. And I know it resonated with them. And that's what we're just saying to people. Yes, be you, do you, but understand, you know, that you don't have to make all the mistakes yourself. There's some things you can learn from someone else. Yeah.
Interesting. So, I mean, as we're going to be wrapping up on this very soon, but my own worry is, how do we then communicate all these experiences to our children such that, yes, we want to teach them self-confidence. Many people say, you have to let your children be confident, they have to be who they want to be, don't hinder their confidence. Yes, but where do we, how does somebody saying, it's my body on Instagram, it's my body, and your kids are saying, she's confident in her body. How do you communicate that to a child? How, especially now having teens, not all the children, these ones are okay. I'm talking about teenagers, 13, 14, 16. These young ladies are there, it's their birthday and they're doing sexy videos. You know, you see a 13, 14-year-old girl feeling sexy, acting, putting all up. You know, I'm thinking, where you even get all these ideas from? So, yes, it's there, but how does a teenage parent understand and how to be able to draw the line between what she's seeing on Instagram and all that? Because they have access to these things.
Okay, what I do, I have an 11-year-old daughter. She's going to be 12. I constantly tell her that confidence is very important. Naturally, I don't like to wear clothes, naturally. But I try to limit my nakedness in my own house so that I don't bring it outside. And then I teach her that she should be confident in her, because she is becoming very voluptuous. I was not like that at that age. And I see how she is grasping with how to package properly and all of that. So I teach her, love your body, respect your body, but you understand your privates, which are not for other people to see. You need to love yourself enough to know that you look very good all clothed up. You look very amazing when you're covered up. And don't show unnecessary things that don't need to be shown. There's a time for it. And at home, I let her be free. So at home, we all wear our bomb shorts and we can dance in the mirror. I love to dance a lot. I play with her and all of that. But when we have to go out, we come out looking decently packaged. That is the respect that you can have for yourself. So for me, I won't follow her to the university tomorrow to know if she's going to obey all of the rules. But I've done my part as a parent to let her understand that you can be confident in your skin without having to show the world everything.
I think it's also the fact that we believe that everything, like what you have just described, you can be anything you want to do in the confines of your home. You don't have to take it up social media. And I think that's the problem right now, that we feel every single thing that we do, we have to share it on social media. So no one is saying, don't be yourself and act yourself, but you do not have to share it on social media with the world.
It's going to affect other sensibilities.
There's a consequence to, trend. There was a time, and trends fade. They are trends. That's why they are trends for a reason. So I got that earlier in life from my mother's stories, and I just never followed trends. So if a dress is raining, when everybody finish wearing their own, I'll go and buy my own.
Yes.
The thing has sort of developed me, and it works well for me. Yeah. There was a time when phone sex and all of that were trending, where people would send their nude pictures out. But the consequence of it is what we waited to see, and it's not something I don't want to break up with somebody and you can fight me with my nude pictures. We've seen actresses whose husbands, not their boyfriends now, fought them online with their nude pictures and released it. Yeah. You don't give people such powers over you. Exactly. So you see this thing that
think
we
ahead.
Think ahead. Calculate and well. Because you really don't need it.
I think as we wrap up also, because the truth is that when this is something, there'll be a point in your life where you want to get a proper corporate career. Maybe things happen and you go to a major international company, and suddenly they go into your social media and start seeing stuff people have said about you. Yes, you don't want people to judge you by your mistakes. But at the same time, what kind of mistakes are we talking about? There are different kinds of mistakes, different grades and levels of mistakes. You don't want to be portrayed as somebody who has opened up all your nudity to the world and acting all sex on TV, and then suddenly 10 years down, there wants to be somebody, a whole department's boss.
Some people struggle to stop objectifying women. The adverts that you're selling car, and you put a naked woman there. You are selling freezer. You put is it nakedness?
That's a different conversation.
To freeze ice cream. You understand?
A whole different conversation.
Some people spend their lifetime getting us to sanity, and now we are
saying. Someone says, gratitude says, we just want to participate in all challenges, must we? We keep imitating negative things on social media. Same with baby shower. Everybody wants to be naked with their tummy.
Bilikis Mafe says, do you know that this popular family that runs a reality TV had one of their sisters saying she has to stop being lackadaisical to nudity since she started having babies because she wouldn't want her children to be exposed to such content. She can't remove the ones online now.
Bilikis also says, I watch movies, I love watching movies, and the genre of choice are carefully sifted through like flour. I don't think people who are doing these things are thinking ahead. They are living in the moment and not considering the long-term aftermath of having content online.
The internet
never forgets.
I know I be shower. You're talking, you don't want I be a shower. I'm thinking, what are you thinking?
We're living in the moment.
No, you're selling a product.
You're selling a product, so...
You guys, have you watched maybe videos of people who, during their heydays, they were like the nudist and everything, and then you see them, in their 50s and their 60s, and they're
even wearing
different
maturity brings that.
That's all we can take on the show, guys. Have a fabulous weekend. I'll see you the upper week because I'm not going to be around. But enjoy your styles, ladies. Have a fabulous weekend. See you then. Bye for now.